My 18th birthday party. October. Live out in the countryside in Tennessee. Dark as all kinds of fuck. Perfect chilly weather. Around 25 people all gathered at my house. We're playing manhunt. One guy runs off into the woods. Everyone else waits an hour, then hunts him with paintball guns. Plan on multiple rounds through the night. Couple rounds go by, no big deal. My 10-year-old brother draws short straw. Almost let him go hide, but he begged. What could happen? We tried to find him for 6 hours. Eventually find him terrified, in a hunter's perch thing, in a tree. Friend who found him said he kicked him in the face, and almost knocked him off the tree at first. I ask him why. He tells me that he heard me trying to find him, below the perch, hours earlier. He peeks out. It isn't fucking me. It isn't a fucking person. It stayed below the tree, calling his name for a few hours. Ran off when it heard us coming, to actually find him. What the fuck, guys? Found one. The other one is pretty long though. In the summer of 2010, I ended up in Harrisburg, Kentucky for my grandmother's funeral. Oh man. The other time I had been up there was when I had been younger, and it was so that my grandfather could be the priest for my dad's current marriage. Anyways, I was in Kentucky for 5 or 6 days, and spent every night at my cousin/aunt's, I'm not really sure what she is, house. Of the grandchildren who were grown up, I was the youngest, and ended up on babysitting duty for the majority of the time I was up there. I stayed in a little trailer at the top of Hill Rock, along with a bunch of my younger cousins. During the day, everyone would go over to my granddad's and leave me there with the kids, and then come home for a few hours and put the kids to bed before heading back out to go do God knows what. I stayed up pretty late on the last night I was there. The kids were in bed and I had the place for myself for quite a while, so I figured I would go sit on the porch and enjoy a cigarette. As I walked out the door, there was this god-awful stench. It was metallic, shitty smell that was really hard to describe, but I am sure if you had smelled it, you would know what I'm saying. It was just this gross-ass stench that hit me like a ton of bricks when I got outside. I started gagging and walked down the stairs of the trailer, thinking I would get some fresh air off the porch. As I got down, I saw in the moonlight what looked like one of my younger cousins, Aiden. He was just kinda standing there, with his back to me, a good 50 feet away from the trailer. I yelled out to the little kid that he needed to get back inside, or his mama would fry him alive. But he just kept standing there. I kept hollering and walked up to him, and as I got closer, I noticed that he seemed kind of off. He was standing, but he had his knees bent at weird angles to each other, and his head was cocked to the side a little. I tapped him on the shoulder, and he turned around. Aiden had this crazy, manic smile on his face, and his sweat was pouring off his little forehead. He started shaking, and it took me a moment to realize that he was laughing, 'cause no sound was coming out. I tried to pick him up and carry him inside so I could look at him in some decent lighting and make sure he was okay. But he must have backstepped as I tried to get him. I snatched at him again, and I caught him, and he just started screaming in this really freaky guttural voice I didn't think he could make. It was just way too deep and gruff for a 5-year-old to make. While he was screaming, he was also flailing his arms and legs around. He ended up making eye contact with my groin, so I dropped him, and he ran out towards the trailer. I sat there hunched over for a moment, getting some air, before running up after him. He was gone when I looked up, so I ran inside hoping he would be waiting for me in the living room. Well, he wasn't, but after some looking around, I found him passed out in the top bunk of his bunk bed. I was confused as shit, but I wasn't gonna wake him up. I just decided to let his mom know what about it when she got home. When my aunt got home a few hours later, I told her about it, and she woke up Aiden to ask him about it. He had no clue whatsoever what we were talking about, and we ended up sending him back to bed after giving him some juice. My aunt thinks I must have had some crazy vivid dream and made it up, but the next morning while I was loading my stuff into the truck, I smelled that gross ass smell, and I would have sworn I saw Aiden darting underneath the trailer. Had he not walked out the door a split second later, along with the rest of his family. I would have chased after him, but I just told myself I was imagining things and didn't say anything to my family. Had an uncle who heroined, used a rubber cord to hang himself in his basement. Afterwards, my folks and I were moving stuff out and fixing some stuff around the house so we could sell it. Dad keeps talking about checking the basement to make sure we didn't miss anything. I can tell he doesn't want to go to the basement, and he also makes it clear that he doesn't want to go to the basement. But I figure I'll save him a headache and do a quick sweep of it anyway. Basement light switch is at the bottom of the stairs, so I have to walk down in the near total darkness. Basement lights. Oh wait, fuck. Old wooden stairs creak bad, but I can hear a different creaking sound coming from deeper in the basement. Wondering if it's rats or something. Hit the lights at the bottom. Lights up room. I'm staring straight ahead. For a moment, I see a dark shape, not even 5 feet in front of me, like thick black smoke, but in the shape of a person. The shape seems to be swinging from side to side, and it creaks as it swings. My fingers were still on the switch, and I just flipped it back off and walked up the steps. I remember feeling oddly calm. Told my dad the basement was empty. Shat breaks later, when I thought about it again. This happened years back, and it is the moment that I basically became X. I have some things I can relate about a little 2-spotlight town that's south of Savannah called Midway. Some of it may be paranormal, some things might not be. I posted this a long time ago, but I'll revise it. The neighborhood where I used to live in Midway was called Woodland Lakes. The lakes in question were generally filthy man-made ponds dug up for filled dirt, which now had half of the neighborhood septic tanks emptying into them. At the time, the place was halfway developed. There were some houses and some trailers and some camper sites. You could walk to the woods and find abandoned campers that had been there untouched for years. Well, untouched apart from teenagers breaking into them to fuck or smoke. It was eerie, really. Campers aren't so inexpensive that you leave them there in the woods and forget all about them. Some of the vast tracts of woods and swamp were already parceled off for sale for the development. I guess it didn't happen as quick as they expected it, because these dirt roads are meandering back into the woods, where it's starting to get overgrown. You could walk through the trees for anchors and randomly stumble upon a playground in the middle of nowhere, wood gradually reclaiming it. When I was about a wee tattle, about 12 or so, I stole a few cigarettes from my father and went for a long walk to one of these accidentally stumbled upon playgrounds to inexpertly suck on them. I would be missed for a while, because having us for the weekend wasn't a good enough reason to not get screaming drunk. Red circle is Dad's house. Blue is approximate location of playground. Anyways, climbed up into the clubhouse of this playground. The plywood walls were crumbling, halfway peeled out by climbing thorns or knocked out by malicious teenagers of the neighborhood. Sitting my happy ass down, I was inexpertly trying to strike some matches when I heard the rustle of something moving through the trees. I made haste to hide my cigarettes and matches lest I get in trouble, but decided to sit down quietly and see who it was. Instead of one of the neighborhood boys down the street like I was expecting, it was 3 furry ape-like creatures. The largest was perhaps my size, about 5 feet at the time, and all 3 were blonde, like golden retrievers. The way they walked reminded me of Chewbacca, lifting their knees high with each step. And my God, the smell. They smell like 3-day-old fish stuffed with rotten eggs, dripped in mixture of sour milk and stale piss, and then rolled in shit. The scent of them were unreal, and it took a supreme effort to keep myself from gagging. Somehow, I knew it was in my best interest to avoid detection. Would they have attacked me? I don't know. But my happy ass sat right there until they were long out of sight, and then I hauled ass home and didn't step outside again for the rest of the weekend. Anyways, I put it out of my mind as perhaps the trio of golden retrievers who had been in someone's septic tanks and made worse by my nearsightedness It wasn't until a few years ago I read about skunk apes and decided perhaps this is what I encountered. Granted, Midway is so much farther north than the Everglades, but it's all swamp and just as hot. Pig related. It's a skunk ape, supposedly, though the color's all wrong and it's too big. What I saw were 3 little blonde munchkins. One summer when I was 10, me and my stepdad going across country drive to Bond. My mom was in prison. We were driving somewhat close to the humanoid type wood forest, and a man came walking out of the forest, of the woods, who looked like a human pig. I'm not talking as he was fat or kind of upturned nose. He flat out looked like a pig that grew to be 6 feet somehow and learned to walk upright. He was also wearing clothing and had claw-like hands, but no hooves. He just walked right in front of us nonchalantly. We drove up the rest of the stop after that and stayed there for hours, barely saying anything to each other. We couldn't believe what we had saw, and my stepdad was scared to drive because he had thought he'd gone crazy. I know this whole thing sounds stupid. People always brought up the Pitman episode of Seinfeld, but it really happened. And while it was certainly possible that the creature we saw was some guy wearing a costume, it wasn't a slip-on mask or something. It was full-on Hollywood tear prosthetics that moved the guy's face, and his hands were made up too. Maybe he was shooting some commercial or movie or something, but if so, I've never been able to find it, and it is extremely unlikely that people will go out their way to shoot a movie/commercial all the way out in the woods and risk letting their star go walking out in the middle of the highway, especially if they had such a good makeup budget. The closest thing I've been able to find were these Energy Hall commercials. See pic. But those didn't come out until 2005, and this was 1997. Plus the costumes in those weren't nearly as good. I'm sure there's a logical explanation, but it is still the eeriest experience of my life. Be me. 2002. 22-year-old homeless alcoholic, starting out life in hard mode. Life in the Southwest. Fallen with Mexican day laborers. Work hard, buy booze, sleep, repeat. Buddy says he's found a job. A sweet deal of a job. It's a dig job. Ask him to hook me up. Says it's twice as much money as what we've been getting for the same kind of ditch digging shit we've been doing. Meet with Jeff. Says to keep our mouths shut and do what I say and get paid. 2-hour van ride into desert. What the fuck? Had no idea there were volcanoes on the Mexican border. Park in the middle of fucking nowhere and grab shovels and lanterns. Got in a weird big ass fuck cave. No graffiti, no trash, like totally untouched. No bats, no gano. Big ass fucking stone circle in the middle. Jeff says don't touch that shit. Gatorade and shitty ham sandwiches for lunch. Boss man says dig here, then dig here. Do this all day. Keep checking shit on some little yellow box like a voltmeter. Keep finding little stone objects, shaped like D&D dice. Boss loses his shit when we find a metal one instead of a stone. Are we grave robbing? Fuck. Walk back to van. Wore the fuck out. Sun just dripping on the horizon. Boss man says to keep your eyes down and keep walking. Buzzing in my ears, inside my head. Walk faster. Not sure this was worth it. Day 2. We're back in the cave. Big stone disc has been moved, and there was a circular well underneath. Can't see the bottom. Boss man freaks out. Everyone out. Job's over. Goodbye, money. Everyone super quiet on the ride back. Feds rolling the next week, asking everyone, you seen this guy? It's boss man. Even being a stupid drunk at 19, I know never to talk to the feds. Feel dirty. Nightmares every night. Can't stand the heat anymore. Can't stand the sun. Take everything I own, and with a little cash I have, and go cross country, and beg my sister to let me stay with her. Never going back to the desert. Have this dream. In a factory. Typical wacky dream shit going on. Go through the back door of the factory. walk out into a sort of Disney cartoon. A bit like on a framed Roger Rabbit when Valentine's in Toontown. Don't like it. Has this weird sort of opera/choir kind of sound in the background. But it's really foreboding and eerie. Whole place feels foreboding. Start panicking. See phone booth. Use phone booth. Call myself to come rescue myself. Wake up sweating. Time to get up anyway. Go downstairs. See I have a message on the answering machine. Play message. It's the same music from the dream. And someone talking, but you can't make out what's being said. Message was received just before I woke up. Maybe I called my house phone with my mobile while I was sleeping, like some kind of muscle memory thing. Although, that wouldn't explain the background music. Remember, my mobile was downstairs charging the whole night anyway. Link related is the voicemail. TLDR, I called myself from my dream, I think. Sipping booze after midnight, looking at hiking maps around summer of season 18. Contemplating where and when to set off to a trip. Fuck it, I'm setting off now. I can catch a bus in a few hours to a mountain resort. Pack my shit and leave in like 5 a.m. and sleep deprived and tipsy. Take a nap on the bus. Arrive, refresh. Set off on a maze of unpaved logging roads looking for a proper marked trail. Success! I see the white markings on the suitable road. Weather is good. No wind, a bit of cloud over at 3 mk and 10k feet over the ridges. See label, Black Rock, on the detour to the left of the path. Remember I saw it on the mark on the map. Some panoramic spot a few minutes away. Go check it out. It's a nice rock providing a good view of the valley. Scenic, but does not trigger the normal, wow, so cool reaction. Wait a minute. Only thing I can hear is the river in the valley below. No wind. Every bird was going ham on singing. Has now nowhere to be heard. I'm beginning creeped out. Better leave. God, that dready feeling. Get back on trail. Everything is back to normal. 3-day hike and ends with no accidents. Go back home. Look up the spot. In the mid-1940s, when the communists took over, they used the rock as an execution point. Just kick the undesirables off the edge. No bullets needed. Dozens of people had died there. My face won. So I have this story saved for a long time now, and actually posting it for the first time in the Nopi thread. 2007 or 8. Forgot the exact time, but late 2007, early 2008. Friends go exploring way in bunkfuck nowhere around East Oregon. Get lost in the woods for hours. GPS isn't working right. After the first 2 hours of hiking, getting dark. Hearing animals in the woods, coyotes and other large game. Pull out SIG 9mm. Walk out into the clearing, hoping it's a road. No road. Just a large clearing with a small, slightly beat up ranch house and the light on in the front room. Run up to the door. Start knocking. One friend points out that this could be a couple of old rednecks with a moonshine operation running. Holster gun and pull jacket over it. Kept knocking. Nothing. Door is slightly ajar. Push it open. Slowly. Call out. Hello? Anyone home? We've been lost in the woods all day and we're wondering if you could point us out to the road. Hear nothing. Hello? We're coming in. 3 of us. Push the door open. 3 of us are in your doorway. Anyone here? We walk in. The air just feels thin and creepy. I pull out my gun and start clearing the rooms with the light on. Really nothing in the room. A little stool and a lamp sitting on it. It's an oil burning lamp. And a old rotting couch. Go back into the hallway and enter next room. Now where it gets dirty. Your friend just screamed bloody murder. Run back into the hallway and into the room he's now standing in with gun drawn and ready to go. See a very dry, very old corpse hanging in the center of the room. It is nearly completely bone at this point. No cloth. Can't tell if it's a man or woman. Put gun away. Looking around room. See a pantry that's just slightly open and hear a light noise. light breathing. Pull a gun around the chamber. Motion the friend to open pantry. He slowly walks up and flings the door open. A man's body, covered with flies and bugs, shotgun in hand. His head just covering the wall. Not nearly as decomposed. Nope the fuck out and run away as fast as we can. Look back. See figure in front of the light before it goes dead. Nope.png.avi.jpg.gif. Whip out GPS and check where we are. Shit's all kinda fucked. Screen keeps flickering on and off where we are, but the line long ARPO 0x0. Shit, fuck, shit. We're ripping through the woods. Stop and catch breath. Look at GPS again. See out location, but it is still blinking. Back to another one, marked 0x0. We start walking back out to the car we had saved in the GPS, all while it's blinking back to our previous location. Still have the nearby heebie-jeebies. We started walking back to our car. GPS is still flipping shit. Get in car. Friend's holding GPS and says it's blinking around the car. But it's like 16 feet off. See light in the woods suddenly. Light flies towards us. Oil lamp smashes on the front of the car. Nope. Rip that shit into reverse and drive like a bat out of hell out of there. GPS still blinking behind us. After we get about 30 miles away, the GPS goes back to normal. Never told anyone about it. Never talked about it again. Only real spooky if you were there, but I'll share. Be me, back in middle school, visiting a friend who lived out in the countryside. Closest neighbor was a little over a mile down, a separate teen road in either direction. 5 of us were supervising because Housebro's parents weren't home, mainly spending the night playing video and talking. After a while, 3 of the group are asleep, aside from me and one of my swim teammates, Ben. It's a new moon, and it's cloudy, so it's completely pitch black outside. House borders on a dense strip of wooded area a few miles away, so then you could probably walk edge to edge in 15 minutes. Are sitting on a second-story balcony that faces parallel to the tree line. We're talking about stupid shit, and he starts idly messing with the cheap laser pointer thing that looks like a laser tag pistol on his keychain. He's just waving it around, back and forth across the tree line and the lawn of the houses, and the lawn of the house. We continue to talk, and after a few minutes there's a blue dot on my arm. Both of us are confused. Realize it's the light from a laser pointer, but it's coming from the woods. The dot runs across my arm and shared a few times before disappearing. Find it kind of funny for a second before realizing that means someone is in the woods watching us. We try to play it cool and pretend like we didn't even notice it as we went back inside. In hindsight, that was completely fucking retarded because we both looked right at it and clearly reacted to it. Get back inside and wake Housebro up. The other 2 would have probably lost their shit and called the cops, so we just let them sleep, trying to figure out what to do, if we should call one of our families, etc. Decided to just hunker down for the night. I wasn't planning on sleeping during the stay regardless, so it wasn't too bad on me. Night goes smoothly. Nothing else happens, or ever came of it. Alright, time for the weirdest story. Be 11 or 12 years old. Trip to some big ass water park for summer cause no camp this year. I was big into scouts and shit like that at that age. Trip was super cool. Going back home after 3 days of fun. Not even sad cause I'm so satisfied with the trip. Suddenly, a feeling comes over me. Dad, I need to go take number 2. Pull up on nearby gas station. Okay, Anan, go poop. And we're gonna refuel and buy some stuff. Just be quick. Go in the toilet. Big related, except no mirrors and stall doors. More like the shit you went at school. Go into stall and left. There's 3 stalls, and the one in the middle was occupied. In minding my own business, when I hear an ungodly scream. Something like a mix between a deer and a bear. Scared so much I no longer need to poop. But I don't want to leave stall. Hear weird voices, hard to tell. Speak in some weird language. Latin, I think, although not sure. See blood flowing on the floor from the middle stall. Jesus Christ, help me, .mp3. My stall door shakes violently. Scream like a little girl. Beg for mercy. Everything stops. Blood is gone. Bathroom empty. No clue what the fuck just happened. Wanna get out. Door to outside won't open, even though it lacks a lock. The fuck do I do now? Scream for some help. Dad hears me. I'll get help anon. Calm down a bit. Turn around. Middle stall is open, and I see this massive fucking shadow monster thing. I vividly remember that it was dark, with large horns and eyes that reflected light, like animals on photos do. But not much besides that. Screamed louder than I've ever have in my life, as it slowly approaches me. Right when it's like 3 meters from me, some biker with a crowbar, who my dad recruited, opens the door. They look and see nothing in there. They think I'm crazy. Dad is mad at me for a couple months, because he had to pay for that door. Don't be here. I can't, but mobiles will deal with it. Be me, 7 or 8, early 2000s. Visit some bumfuck nowhere with Dad. Mom is on wheelchair, so we rarely took her out on stuff like that. First day was normal. We'd go to eat waffles and take a swim in the nearby lake. On our way to our hotel, see clown. Don't really think much. Go to sleep. Wake up at like 3 a.m. and hear creepy laughter. Be too much of a bitch pussy to check it out. Just pretend everything is fine and go back to sleep eventually. Day 2 was actually normal. Day 3 as well, but on the way back from the lake, we stopped at McDonald's for food. While shoving that crap into my mouth, I noticed a clown next to our car. Tell Dad. He gets spooked hard and calls the cops. They tell him to fuck off because nobody cares about a fucking clown. Eat and go to car. Notice the fucker left a note. My face 1, it's a party invitation. My face 1, it has my name on it. My face 1, the party is tomorrow, in the woods, next to our hotel. Now, originally, we were supposed to have 5 days of fun, and return early in the morning of day 6. But we decided to pack up and fuck off from there on morning of day 4. Night from day 3 to 4. Hear creepy shit, like nails on a chalkboard and some weird shit screeching. Can't sleep all night because of that. Morning of day 4. We're putting our suitcases in the car. Dad goes to take a shit and says to stay in the car. Sit there looking through the windows. Suddenly, a massive congregation of creepy clowns of all shapes and sizes emerges from the woods near a hotel and just stands there. Pretty sure they can't be human. One fucker is like a good 7 feet tall, and the other one is normal height, but his arms are like twice as long as his legs. They all sing some weird nursery rhyme. Get ready to fucking die. WAV. Suddenly, Dad runs up, and we bolt the fuck out of there. Never been happy to see the fucker in my whole life. Honestly, I forgot about this whole ordeal, thinking it was a dream until my dad reminded me last year. Probably the spookiest thing I've experienced.